In this video, what I'm going to be talking to you about is the relationship between lead quality and friction. Now, if you don't already know who I am, my name's Shade Theory and I'm the co-founder of acquisitiongrowthpartner.com, and we partner with established marketing agencies to help them add an additional $60,000 to $120,000 a month within 6 to 12 months by using our AI acquisition system. So let's jump into my computer. I'm going to do some drawings and I'm going to show you what we're talking about when I'm talking about the process or the relationship between friction and lead quality. So let's say this straight line here, right? And this straight line here depicts, someone opts in, and then someone becomes a lead. So let's say they start here and they go all the way through your process. Let's say 100 people opt in. Because the process is pretty seamless, there's a straight line, there's no obstacles or hoops that they have to jump through, you're going to get a lot of leads. So let's say like 100 people opt in and then 70 people actually go ahead and turn into leads. Now, because the process is so seamless, yes, you're going to get a good amount of volume coming through the other side, but the quality that's coming out the other side, because it's so easy for them to opt in and become a lead, there's not really much quality coming through on the other end. And the example that I'm going to draw to use this is, say, like a lead form. So let's say so back when I was running my lead generation agency for real estate agents, there's multiple ways you can generate leads. You can generate leads through chatbots, you can generate leads through lead forms, you can generate leads through landing pages. But let's say this process is lead forms. Now, lead forms is a very frictionless way for you to generate leads. One, it's native to Facebook, so Facebook like to push it because they like to keep you on the platform because it allows them to make more ad revenue, more dollars. If you take them off the platform, they're not really incentivized to push it as much. So lead forms. What happens when someone opts into a lead form? So you click on a lead form and it says name, number, email, street address, and so forth. Most of that information is going to be pre-populated, either pre-populated by something you filled out in the past or pre-populated from the original details you signed up to Facebook with. Now, you pretty much say that, yeah, that's really easy, that's really good. You can just pull this information. The problem with that is that there's very little friction in the process, meaning that the quality of the leads that come through aren't that great, and it's pre-populated data. Meaning that if someone signed up for a Facebook account in 2010 and now they're opting into your lead form, well, let's say they've moved places twice between then. Well, the address might be outdated, the number might be old, they might have had 5 numbers since then. So the information you're getting through, you might be getting a high volume, but the quality of that data isn't that good. That's an example for lead forms. Now let's take this part, right? And let's say every part here is a part of friction. So you get their street address, you get the time frame, you get the email, you get the phone number, and you ask them to confirm their details. And this is an example for ManyChat. And we've got the opt-in, and you've got the lead. And this is the person. They're going to come here, jump over, come here, jump over, overcome these obstacles. Now, you can see here, this process up here is a lot more seamless, but let's say 100 people opt in here. Well, 100 people here, let's say it goes down to 90 here, then it goes down to 70 here, and it goes down to 50 here, goes down to 20 here, goes down to 15 here, and then 15 come out the other side. 100 people opted in, but only 15 leads came out the other side. Now, what happened here? Well, all this information that you're getting through the ManyChat bot, none of it's pre-populated. So you're having to ask everyone to manually input their information. So you're asking for an address here, you're asking for the time frame that they'd consider to sell here, you're asking them for their phone number, you're asking them for their email, and you're asking them to confirm all the information that they've filled in before you send it off to your Google Sheet, your CRM, whatever it is. Now compare the two. This here is pre-populated and pretty much gets sent straight away to you without them confirming that this is the correct information. This one, and it's pre-populated, pull from Facebook or whatever it is. Whereas this one is no pre-populated data. You're asking them to manually fill out each and every question. And every time they have to manually put on their phone is a chance for them to be like, I don't know if I actually want to go through this process, or like, this is taking quite a while. Like, I don't know if I want to keep answering these questions. And that's, as you can see, 100 people opt in, then it goes to 90 people, 70, 50, 20, 15, and 15 leads come out here, but 70 leads come out here. Now, what actually happens here is not only is there more friction in this process, like, because there's more questions, more hoops that they have to jump through to become a lead, but also they're spending more time. There's more intention. Now, let's say you run a Facebook marketing service, you do local lead gen. The more friction you have in your process, or the more time someone spends in your process, the more intention that lead's going to have. Because let's take a lead form, right? Let's say they're opting in for some solar offer. They see a solar offer, boom, boom, they spend 10 seconds and they've already become a lead, and that gets sent into their systems. Versus something like ManyChat, maybe it takes a minute and a half, and yes, less leads go through, but the intention of someone who spends a minute and a half answering all your questions and confirming that this information is correct versus someone who just goes through this process, it's day and night difference. And if you just want a high volume of leads and you just want to get your reps or your team, you just want to do a bunch of volume so they can start getting the reps in and build that foundational skill level. But if you actually want to work with people who are qualified, you need to add friction into your process. Now, this is an example for local lead gen if you're running like some paid ads, but let's do another example. For example, here. So the example I want to use here instead of paid ads is, let's say you're doing outbound. You're cold emailing, you're using LinkedIn and so forth, and someone positively replies. And now you have to take that positive response into a booked call. So let's say we draw two different processes out here. You've got the opt-in, you've got the lead. Opt-in, you've got the lead. And same process here. Maybe there's like one part of friction. Jump over here. And then let's say there's lots of friction in this process. So I have to jump over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same sort of deal. Opt-in, lead, 10, 10, 10. Let's say 2. Actually, not, that wouldn't be 10. Let's say you get like maybe 5. So the top example, someone positively responds to a cold email you send them saying that they're interested to hear more, they're interested in hearing the price, or they're just interested to catch up for a time to speak. And then instead of responding back with, oh, here's a calendar link, pick a bunch of times, you respond back by saying something like, how does 5 p.m., 6 p.m., or 7 p.m. EST sound? The only friction in this process is them responding back with a simple time, 6 p.m. EST. So this is the process. 10 people positively respond, and then there's one part of friction in this process, which is them having to answer which time sounds good to them, and then 5 people book a call from this process. Because instead of sending them to a Calendly form where they have to answer like 10 questions, you're going to answer those questions for them, and you're just going to book them in because you're optimizing for more calls booked instead of quality of calls booked. Now let's take this process down here. You got 10 people who positively respond. You send over a Calendly link, and then within that Calendly link, you've got like, what's your current monthly revenue? What services do you sell? What's your goals? What's holding you back? All these different questions. And like, there's a lot more time that's going to be spent, a lot more brain and energy and calories that are going to be spent having to figure out, what the answers to these questions are. But the quality of the lead that's going to come out the other end is probably going to be a little bit better. And look, you've got 10 that opt in or that positively respond, and you only get 2 booked calls. To 2 booked calls versus 5 booked calls. It really depends on what you're optimizing for. And the way you want to think about whether you should have more volume or more quality leads or more qualified leads is based on how full your calendars are. So if you're booking like 5 calls a day, 8 calls a day, and like you just absolutely rammed like month to month, you couldn't even fit any calls in your calendar if you wanted to, and it's the same if you had like a sales team, what you want to do from there is you want to look at parts where you can add friction into the process to increase the amount of energy someone has to put into book a call. Therefore, it'll increase the quality, but it'll reduce the amount of time. And at that point, because you have so much volume, you can optimize for things like this. You can optimize to make more friction in your process or increase the friction in your process so that you can increase the quality and decrease the amount of calls. And you can afford to do that because you're already busy. You don't want to start off optimizing for quality or just like pure quality, adding a bunch of friction in the process. So what I would recommend that you do is that if you have a bunch of calls, figure out parts in your process that you can add friction so that you can increase the amount of or increase the quality of the calls that you're getting. And if you don't have enough calls coming through and your outreach, you feel like your outreach is good, figure out parts where you can remove friction, as in like asking them what times they'd like to book in or just getting them to respond back with a quick yes, instead of getting them to commit to a big, huge ask, like getting them to go into your calendar and ask 100 questions and so forth. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you just go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what your thoughts were. But if you run an established marketing agency and you have at least 3 good case studies and you're doing a minimum of $25,000 per month and you want to add an additional $60,000 to $120,000 a month over the next 6 to 12 months, click on the first link that's in the description. Now, you're not obliged to at all. The main thing is that you watch these videos and you get value from it. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and understand the relationship of lead quality and friction. But I'll see you in the next one. See you later.